So on today's episode, we're going to give you that lesson about color that I promised so long ago. Now, I wasn't sure if I should give you guys an episode about color theory or maybe do something with swatches, so instead I got something much cooler for you guys. What you'll learn in today's lesson is how to select any color and then change that color on the fly to whatever you need it to be. But before we dive into that, a lot of people have been asking to see the man behind the camera. So Vic, would you like to introduce yourself?
Bonjour.
And that's exactly why we keep him behind the camera. Alright, so we're going to start this off by using this image of myself. The reason why we're using this is because it has a specific color in it that we're going to change. And the color we're going to change is going to be the red on the Koopa Trooper's shell. So we're going to select the red and then we're going to change it to blue, green, purple, or any color that we need it to be. So the easiest way to select a color inside of Photoshop will be to go to Select and then Color Range. Now when you do this, you'll get a little eyedropper. Just use that eyedropper to click on the red and you'll start to select the red color. Now you'll see a little preview image over here. The white is what will be selected and the black is what's not selected. And this preview image is pretty small, so if you want to make your full image like that, just change the selection preview over here. So we're going to change it from none to grayscale, and you could start seeing that if we adjust the fuzziness, that a lot of that other area starts to go away. Now remember, we want to make this as white as possible while keeping the rest black. So one thing that we can do is click on localized color clusters. And what this will do is it'll pretty much crop off everything that's away from here, depending on the range that you set. So we're just going to bring the range down, and you can start seeing everything around it fading away. Now if you bring it down too close, you'll see that that fades away. So we're going to bring it to about here. And that's pretty good to start off with. Let's play with the fuzziness a little bit more. Bring that up, because that's good. We want this as white as possible. Okay, so we hit OK, and then we have our selection. Now we still have these little other areas that are selected, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my lasso tool so I can deselect these. And let's just zoom in on the image. And now if you hold down Option on Mac or Alt on PC, you'll see that the little lasso tool gets a minus sign on it. So that means that when you select with this, you'll be subtracting from your selection. So I'm just going to circle around this area here to get rid of that. Clean up some other areas as well. And we have a pretty decent, rugged color selection. If this was a higher resolution image, then it would be a much better, much easier selection. So now that we have our color selected, what we're going to do is create the hue saturation adjustment layer for it. And the way you do that is by clicking on this little image here, where you'll be able to select your adjustment layer. And we're going to click on hue saturation. Now it looks like nothing happened at all, but in your adjustments layer, if you start playing with the hue slider, we can start changing the color that we selected. That's pretty neat. So now he has, let's change this to a yellow shell. Now he has a green shell. You could adjust the sat level of it, so you can make it brighter or more dim. And you can also change the lightness to make it darker, which works sometimes, and if you make it lighter, it just washes it out way too much. So I hardly ever play with that. So we'll just reset that to 0, and now it's a green shell. So that pretty much sums it up. It's very simple to just change that color once you have it selected using this adjustment layer. So now let's see this in a much higher resolution image and a much more professional shot photo. So here we have this lovely lady with her fancy hat with a little feather in it. I made a rough selection of her hat. You can see that in my layers here. I have her hat, her lips, and her eyes adjusted. So let's say we need to change the color of her hat. Let's say the client says her hat's supposed to be purple. We could easily just select the layer once we have our selection and then adjust the slider, and now her hat is purple. Or if we needed to, we can make it reddish, orange, green, lime green, so we could leave it at green here. So we also selected her eyes, and we could change the color of her eyes as well. So her eyes are currently green, let's change that to like a nice blue. That looks nice. And like I said, once you have your selection made, you just make a adjustment layer for it, a hue saturation adjustment layer. You just drag the slider around and it changes the color for you. Makes things a lot easier. And the only thing that we did to her lips was dim it down a bit. So all I did was I just bumped down the saturation a little bit because her lips were pretty bright. So here's the original image. She had like a red hat, normal colored eyes, what is that, brown, bright red lips. So tone down the lips, change the color of the hat, change the color of her eyes. Bam! That's how easy it is.
Okay, so just a quick tip letting you know our Facebook page has been deactivated. However, we have a brand new Facebook page waiting for you down below. If we get 25 likes, we'll be able to give you 25 freebies. Pretty cool stuff. We'll see you next week, and remember, keep on pimping those pixels.
Hey, wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is my show. It's my show.
I'm pretty, go away.
You are Next time on Pimping Pixels. Keep on pinning.
No!